Let's begin by introducing ourselves, your name, your major, where you're from or where you want to be. Just a little something about yourself. So let's start with the lady here.
Hello, my name is Sylvia. I'm a graduate student. I'm a PhD student in political science. I'm scheduled to defend at the end of August. I'm from Austin, and that's what brings me here to Lubbock, and I'm ready to go back.
My name is Danielle Searles. I'm also a PhD student in counseling psychology. I'm getting ready to propose my dissertation this fall, and I'm also from Austin. And looking forward to going back.
My name is Gerald Penny, and I am a PhD student in counselor education. I am nowhere near the dissertation or proposal phase. I'm from Houston, Texas, the greatest place in the world that I never want to return to. And I'm married to a beautiful woman, and in like 30 days, we will have been married for a year.
That's awesome. Woo! Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm Trevor Wise. I am not a PhD student. I'm actually a second-year MFA student in arts administration. I moved down here from Massachusetts, but I'm originally from Missouri. Missouri, as everyone else calls it. But I'm a farm boy, so I say Missouri.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so thank you for being here. Thank you for your time and commitment. And so today's topic is honor code. All right, so what I have here is just some examples. Let me pass it up for you. Take a couple minutes to read. Why or why not? Or what's the significance of having an honor code at the institution, at our university? Why do you think we should have it, or it doesn't really matter because? Right. So let's start with Sylvia.
Why we should have an honor code?
Mm-hmm. Or why it's important we should have it or should not?
I guess I'm going to start off with asking the political scientist when he comes out is, how are you defining an honor code? How is it being defined? What's the operationalization of an honor code for the university? Because I've read all this, but what are we actually saying? What is the honor code?
I think it seems like, at least from what we're reading here, that this is more academic integrity, such as like plagiarism and doing things of that.
Speaking specifically just academically towards students.
In general, I think that having an honor code that focuses on having this integrity is going to be very useful, because the quality of students that and graduates that Texas Tech actually produces needs to reflect on the fact that they're learning skills that they themselves, the graduate, has picked up some sort of knowledge, hopefully along the way, and it's not just a regurgitation of what their peers said or what another scholar said. We actually want to have some sort of evidence and want them to work towards upholding this value of learning for themselves and actually growing as an individual.
I just think of one word: accountability. It just is black and white. It's cut and dry. This is what you can or can't do. These are the ideals that we should hold ourselves to, and it allows for me and for you and you and you to say to each other, hey, make sure that this is what you're living by as you write your papers. It keeps us relationally, relationally responsible for one another. Like, if I really care about you and I want to see you succeed as a graduate student at Texas Tech, hey, make sure you got to cite everything. Like, I mean, even if you don't feel like you need to cite it, put it down just in case. It's better to oversight than undersight.
He stole my answer. I was going to say accountability. I was hoping that I would have given it to something else first. But no, it's true. It really holds you accountable. Like, it's saying this is what we expect out of you, and this is the way that you should be abiding by these certain principles. And I mean, it also just says that we're not joking about it. I mean, this is a real life thing. And having worked with students that have obviously plagiarized some of their works already, I mean, it's sad to see. Because, it's such a simple thing not to do, and yet people think that that's the easy way to do it, and it's not. It's horrible.
Well, I don't know. I guess as a student, and having been here for 3 tenures, way too long, I can see the maturation process that occurs. Like, you don't know what plagiarism is if you've never been taught what plagiarism is.
True.
And I think that sometimes, not all the times, there are some students who receive low marks or who are called into question about the academic integrity when they didn't know that one sentence needed to be cited. Like if even if it was their conceptualization of somebody else's work, if they didn't know that that needed to be cited, that doesn't, I don't know. I'm just, I understand the accountability part of it, but I think there has to be some kind of educational component to academic integrity as well.
Because I have a lot of freshmen that I instruct, it has to start at orientation. It has to start as soon as your foot comes into the door, because a lot of the freshmen that we have coming in are not aware. They're used to doing copy and paste from the
From
textbook.
Wikipedia.
Oh my,
Just
how
copy and
is Wikipedia a
paste.
source? But that's another story.
Some wiki pages are very detailed. Some wiki pages have some
It's
stuff
not
in it.
scholarly work. So I've had to submit students to the Student Office of Code of Conduct because it's a copy and paste. They come back to me, I had no idea. At that point, I can't help you. As soon as you've been accepted into this program, you understand what plagiarism is, you've had a tutorial, something.
Yeah,
to
there
tell
needs to be
you.
some kind of educational component
Because
because,
then after that, there's no excuse.
yeah.
For me, it's something that I emphasize in the semester, and it still doesn't take root. But I use that opportunity to make sure you're citing your sources, or make sure you use in-text citations, so I can tell your language from another author's language.
And to go along with that, making sure that it's in the syllabus. I know that we have to put something that says, you know, you shouldn't plagiarize, blah, 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 but like, this is what plagiarism is to us.
Yes.
And so it is very clear in every single syllabus that's out there that this is the criteria. And so every single time an instructor talks about what's required for the course, they can hit the high points. Every time there's an assignment, they're hitting the high points. This is in here and it's in their face all the time.
And I think to go along with it, because these are very great ideas, right? If I was doing research, I think I'd take them. Steal them, right? But I think on the first day of classes, for any, or even the first week of classes, if you can stretch it that long, any professor or instructor who requires writing needs to teach their students how to cite. Like you gotta, and I think that's hard if you've got a 300 student, you know, history class, so then you need to put the onus on your TAs. You must learn how to cite, and this is what we do. This is the process. You have to, did you say it? Did it come from your brain apart from any other influence as much as possible? And if not, then you have to write where you got it from. And I think if we can boil it down to the simplest terms and give them examples, that the level and the frequency of academic integrity issues would go down, because they could, hopefully, because they could see, oh, this isn't, this isn't mine. Let me go ahead and put Billy Francis 2006 on it.
And that also emphasizes how important it is to us as a tech community that they make sure that they do the citations correctly. Because if they are seeing it in their face every single class, every single instructor is talking about it, then it says, okay, well, this is actually something that's important. I need to pay attention.
And I think to add additional weight to it is that the administration it's coming down from top to bottom, that the administration is going to be serious about the repercussions for students that are caught plagiarizing or cheating or doing something, because right now there's a lot they'll say, I'll let that one go. But if the administration also supports the effort, then it makes the weight even heavier on keeping everything uniform, making sure the students are aware of it.
So,
Well, I guess going off of that, what do you do though with like maybe foreign students that don't necessarily realize what they're doing? I mean, I understand the need for like harsh penalties and things of that nature, but you know, we do have a lot of international students that are coming in that don't necessarily know how, I guess, America, for lack of a better word, operates with citing of sources and whatnot. I mean, I've lived in foreign countries, you know, and I know that they operate much differently than the way we do here. I think something that would help, other than orientation and just having it in your syllabus, and I hate to say this, but having a specific research class where we are continually pounding this into their heads to say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is our expectations of you. Because I don't think having just words in the syllabus and words coming out of a professor's mouth are going to necessarily continue that. Because we're still having this problem, and we're still having such a high rate of this problem, that obviously what we're doing now is not working.
I see just like a workshop, you know.
Well, that would work as
Just
well,
a
yeah.
workshop where you have to attend a couple hours and.
Well, see, and then that brings about the logistics of it, because how do you, one, get professors to buy into the idea that you need to put this in your syllabus, you need to go through this with with your students, but then two, get the students to buy into the fact that they have to go to this class and actually comprehend, like not just be there in body, but be there in mind and pay attention. And so if you make it a required course, they're not going to want to do it. But if you make it and the word optional comes to mind, even though it wouldn't be optional, it's highly encouraged, but it's optional workshop. Hey, if you're going to write in this class, you kind of have to go. Like with history, you have to have a TA session, or with sciences, you got to have like a lab session. The same is true. You have to go to this workshop. You're going to have to learn this some kind of way. Because if not, then you run the risk of getting into something that we can't get you out of.
I don't know if signing your name, because like right now, some of the classes that we teach in political science, students have to take a quiz over what the course is about within the first week. It means absolutely nothing, because they come back 6 weeks later and say, I didn't sign it, and I'm like, yeah, you did. So I don't know if signing a form when you're coming in for orientation or at the beginning of the semester, you're looking at her, let me just sign, so she'll be quiet and we can move on. I don't know if that's the most effective way.
One thing that I was thinking, because I agree, I don't think signing something and turning it in and forgetting about it, or doing a pledge, you can be like, well, I said it, but it doesn't mean it. I wasn't even paying attention, I was just repeating what was being said. But maybe if they, like if there is an honor code that's like short and sweet, like some of these down here, that if they had to write it at the bottom of every exam, like actually hand write it and copy
The whole
the words.
sentence.
The whole sentence.
would.
Yeah.
I think they
And
would.
then sign it, and it's like, there you go.
Because then you're really accountable of you're writing that sentence.
So that means you know it.
You know.
that you've processed it.
So you,
Exactly.
you know, like
You know it.
how to pronounce
It's
it.
like, oh, wait a minute, I can't write this.
Yeah,
you
this
know.
is not.
Versus just repeating the words.
Because that's, I mean,
Yeah.
without buy-in, those are empty words and that's an empty signature. You can always say, well, I didn't know what I was signing. But when you read it, yeah, but I kind of didn't know what it meant. This is language I don't use every day. I mean, that's true. Like, I'm telling you. Like,
Terms and conditions for cell phones, like how many times do we read through those things? I don't.
I don't have time.
Seriously, I don't.
They're like
You
this
know.
long, and there's no way. But if we were to require, or if an instructor was to say, hey, at the bottom of every exam, you have to have this, or I'm going to count it as a 0, or I'm going to greatly deduct from it, students would be more than likely, like they would be, let me just go ahead and write this. And at some point, it would begin to click. Like they would have to learn it to write it.
Consciously aware of
Yeah.
that.
You have to.
Are they
exactly.
Writing this thing and thinking, oh, well, I did cut it to you over here. Let me go back and.
Let me-
And I know we're not getting into like what it says specifically, but I like the idea of, you know, not tolerating it or doing something to aid your peers, because I can imagine a student, if they didn't write it, then the professor could check in with them like, hey, I noticed you didn't write this, what happened? And for a student that maybe witnessed something, that would give them the space to bring it up, saying,
Absolutely.
I saw it, but I didn't want to like immediately after the test go and tell you, but if you leave it blank, then it would prompt the professor to say something to that student.
I kind of like the University of Maryland, but I would just add exam, quiz, paper, you know, et cetera, everything.
Yeah.
On every assignment,
Every
Okay.
assignment.
paper, exam,
Whatever
or
it is,
otherwise,
yeah.
yes.
I don't like the University of Virginia's, because it says I've neither given nor received help on this assignment. So that's almost making it as though the students can't come and ask for assistance on that, and I don't like that. I think that they should be able to go and get help.
Yeah.
By saying that I've not received help on this, it means that they didn't do anything, or they didn't feel that they could. So I think that you need to make sure that your language is vague, but not so vague that,
Yeah.
That's why I underlined the word unauthorized.
Yes, and
Yeah,
I'm
because I think that
Richmond,
works really
Colorado.
Yeah.
As a literal student myself, I wouldn't be able to pledge that because I ask every question I am allowed to ask. And if you tell me that I can use it, then I have to write saying I didn't, I'm probably not going to be able